Hello and happy Monday. This is me getting back on track again, Lynn Modichon from Modichon's Herbals. I was going to actually count out how many days there was till Christmas. I don't know the exact number because I didn't get that far today, but it's probably in the vicinity of 40-ish days between now and Christmas, with it getting harder to shop. I thought what we would do over the next couple of sessions from Wisdom from Gran is maybe let's make some Christmas presents. They're going to be a little bit more economical, and I always love getting homemade gifts. I think the fact that somebody will take the time to make something for me is makes the gift just so much nicer. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to make 2 gifts in a jar. Okay? So we're going to make peppermint cocoa, and we're going to make a bath tea. So the only thing that we need to use the mortar and pestle for today is for the peppermint cocoa. So I think we're going to go ahead and make that first. All right? So what you're going to do is you need, we're going to layer all of the ingredients here inside the jar. And so it'll be a pretty layered effect when we get there to the finish. So we're going to start out with a half a cup of powdered milk. Now I keep, that's salt, this one's milk. Okay, I keep a bunch of this stuff already on one of the cupboards in my kitchen so that I have it easily to hand when it's time to start cooking. So we need a half a cup and that's this one of milk. And we're going to put it right there on the bottom. Okay, and then we need a half cup of unsweetened cocoa. So I am using premium cocoa. That's what it looks like. And I got this at Winco. And we need a half cup of this. So that goes in next. Now that wasn't a full half cup, so we're going to put a little bit more. Okay. And then we need a half cup of sugar. Now I have to laugh because this is my sugar container. Now I have to also tell you that I don't use a lot of sugar. And so for me to have the largest container of sugar, that's just kind of a little bit funny. So I'm going to go get a paper towel, or a towel to wipe out the cocoa. I'll be right back. This is a gift for somebody else because I can't do chocolate, and so I don't want chocolate in my sugar. Okay, so now we've got a half cup of sugar on top of the chocolate. We're using 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So that's a half of a quarter teaspoon. and then a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. Now, if you want to mix it up, instead of using chocolate chips, you can use white chocolate chips. You can use butterscotch chips. Any of those are going to make a fine addition. Now, if you're going to do I don't know that I would do the peppermint if I was also doing the caramel chips, because that would be, I'm not sure that caramel and peppermint would go together. So we are using a 1/2 cup, or a 1/4 cup, of the chocolate chips. Now, I am not a huge measuring person, so I will instead put like a 1/2 of this. There you go. So that's about a 1/4 cup, 1/2 of the uh, 1/2 cup measuring cup. Now, they've already got the candy canes out in the stores, and what they said here on this recipe is that a 1/4 cup of crushed candy canes is about 3 candy canes. So we are going to use their measurement and just use the 3 candy canes. And we're going to crush them up. Now, another thing that you can do, and I think in the long run, I would have, if I'd have thought this through, it would have been easier if I had gotten, you know, those little candy discs that are peppermint. I think they would be a whole lot easier to mix or to crush. And I'm having a little bit of difficulty. There we go. Getting the candy canes out of the plastic that they have. Now, if you are giving this gift to a child, this is going to be the way you want to do it, just like this. If you're giving it to an adult, you can go to the liquor store and get Peppermint Schnapps and add additional peppermint that way. You can, they have them in like those little airplane bottles, so you don't have to buy, I mean, they're like $2, so it doesn't add a whole lot of cost to this. It is, and if you're making it in bulk, in terms of making more than for just one person, then you don't have a lot of leftovers, and and then that makes it a little bit more economical as well. There we go. So there's 2, and now we're going to put the 3rd one on. And they shrink wrap these things. They really have no intention of anybody getting them open. All right. So we're going to take our mortar and pestle, and we're going to just so, with the exception of getting them out of the plastic, this really has been, yeah, I didn't get all the plastic out. I guess this one's not. So that actually crushed easier than I thought it was going to. And we're going to put that on top. Okay, and then on top of that, we're going to put mini marshmallows. Now, these mini marshmallows have been dehydrated. I think that when if you put stuff away for a rainy day, treats are something that you should consider having some stocked up as well. And I know that my kids all like cocoa. And I also know that marshmallows go bad. I mean, they get old and sticky and not nice. So I threw these into the dehydrator, and I did this last year. So it's, if you have a thermostat on your dehydrator, you can put it up to 150 degrees, and then one recipe, as I re-looked it up today, said for 6 to 8 hours. Another one said for 1 to 2 hours. Now I'm thinking I probably was someplace in between, but what you're going to want to do is you want the marshmallow to be really hard. See, I'm smashing that with my fingers, and it's not smashing at all. But it breaks up easily in your mouth, and it's a lot of fun. And it really tastes pretty good, too. So, I'm putting the dehydrated ones in there. And it says to put like a quarter cup, but to be totally honest with you, I think you cannot have too many marshmallows in your cocoa. So I put a little bit more. Now, once we're finished, so this is all finished. Now, I had these cute little jars that had the handles on top. And so I'm going to go ahead and just put the lid on it. And then I probably would put like a ribbon on it. But another thing that you can do, that my mom used to do, is if you've got a pair of pinking shears. Now, pinking shears are the ones that make cuts that are jagged so that the fabric doesn't ravel. And if you can go find a remnant of some Christmas fabric, what she used to do was put the lid on and then put a circle of Christmas fabric that's about an inch bigger all the way around of this one, of the lid, and then she would put the ring on it. And what that would do is here on the top, it would have a pretty Christmas piece of fabric, and then it also would have a little skirt that would hang down here. So those are two different ways that you can design your jar. The other thing you can do is you can actually paint with tempera paint on the outside if you want to put like a snowman face or something of that nature, and that'll work as well. So this one is all ready to go, and I've given this out for Christmas a couple of years running, and everybody seems to be really happy with it. So there's the one. Now, if you do not have a dehydrator and you want to dehydrate the marshmallows, what you can do is put your oven on the lowest temperature that it has, which should be about 200 degrees, and then put a single layer on baking sheet of the marshmallows. Every 20 minutes, stir it up so they're not, so they're toasting all over. And then in my dehydrator, it's on a tray that has, that's like a screen, and so the hot air goes all the way around it. If you're using a baking tray, you don't have that same option, and so you have to go ahead and stir it up a little bit. And it is, you're probably going to want to do it for about 2 hours, but leave the oven door cracked open to let some of the heat escape so that it doesn't melt them and it doesn't burn them. That also will keep the element running for that amount of time, so that it will still bake and be pretty nice. So that is the peppermint cocoa. Now, the other thing I thought we would make is a bath tea. Now, a couple things about bath teas. You can use just herbs. You can use baking soda and Epsom salts with your herbs, or just baking soda and Epsom salts and maybe some essential oil. Oftentimes, and if you're interested, check with me when you're in the shop, because if I have empty essential oil bottles, I don't throw them away. I keep them, I save them so that you can use the empty bottle to put Epsom salt in, and that will, if you let it sit for a couple of days, it will pick up the smell of the essential oil, because there's still, you know, the dregs around the bottle. And then there's no cost, because I'm going to give you those bottles, because I can't, you know, I have enough. I don't need more. If you're using just essential oils and Epsom salts and baking soda, then you can just put it straight into the bathtub. If you are using herbs, you can still just put it straight in the bathtub, but when you get out of the bathtub, then you have to clean it, because the herbs don't go down the drain. And if they do go down the drain, it could cause some blockages. So I use one of two things. This is my bath tea strainer, and it opens up, and you can put a lot of herbs in there. There you go. And then close it up again and let it just float around. That's not the beautiful herb bath that you see on TV, because there's no petals floating around, but I also know that I'm getting the smell of the herbs, and I am getting the benefits of the herbs, and I'm also getting the benefit of not having to ruin that whole experience by getting out and having to scour the tub. So the other one that you can use is like a nice muslin bag. I have some muslin bags at the shop, and we'll be using those. Now I'm going to be making some of these bath teas with the muslin bags, and they'll be ready for Christmas if you want to just come in and have me make them for you instead of you making them by yourself. So what we're going to use, I'm not going to put the Epsom salt and the baking soda in here, and the reason I'm not is because most people have baking soda and Epsom salts in their house, and by not putting them in the jar, I can put a whole lot more of the herbs in, and then they can just add, if they want, the other. So the reason you would use Epsom salts is because it helps take the stress out of your muscles. It helps you relax. The baking soda is a good skin detoxifier, and so those are the reasons why you would use those. We're going to put in ours that we're making today, we're going to put some lavender, which is an antidepressant and is and a relaxant. Whoa. So we're going to put about a quarter of this jar of lavender. And then we are going to put rose. Rose is a mood elevator, and it also does some really nice things for your skin. It has a lot of vitamin C, not as much as rose hips, but still it has vitamin C and collagen in it. So we're going to put another quarter of the jar. Of the rose. And then I'm going to put chamomile, which is an antispasmodic and a relaxant, and so it's going to help your muscle stress and sore muscles. Now you can use pretty much anything that you want. We could put cedar in here, and that would be like an energetic cleanse as well as a relaxant. You could make, if you do magic and you do ritual baths, you could put together one of these that is for protection and or for prosperity. the last thing that I'm going to put in here is Life Everlasting, which is its essential oil form is called helichrysum. It's an amazing skin healer. It is it also helps with longevity and prosperity. It helps with anxiety. So again, a lot of wonderful things. And it's kind of a fun little flower as well. So what we've got here is lavender, rose, chamomile, and Life Everlasting. And look at how pretty that is. Probably, looking at this, I should have done the lavender and then the chamomile and then the rose. And then you'd have had a little bit more colored delineation. Another good flower to put in here would be Calendula. And if I had some fabric that had nice little flowers, a little floral fabric, that would be a real pretty one to put on here as well. So there are two different gift ideas for somebody in your life, and we're going to continue some of these. And so I think what we're going to do next Wednesday is we're going to make house blessing balls. So it is, I think I've got one over here, so let me look and see. There we go. So it is an ornament with a multitude of herbs, all for different things. And then I'm going to put, this one I have a star on it, so I'll put a little bit of a charm on it. And then I also will put, I have a little poem that I will put online the next day so that you can tell somebody that you're making this for what each of the herbs are for in your blessing. Now the other thing to this is we'll have these made in the shop as well. So we'll have the blessing balls and the bath salts. We won't be having the peppermint cocoa, but we'll have the other two. And then I'll be looking out for ideas for the next 2 weeks, for the next week anyway. And so if you can think of anything, that's great. If you are making a turkey, the brine is made, and it is so if you want to come in on anytime next week, you can get your brine and the instructions on how to brine your turkey if you need those as well. And because you're going to want to start that on Monday, if next week. So I think right now that's all I have from here. If you've got some great ideas for making Christmas gifts, please let me know, and you can help me out with that. So have a wonderful week, at least until Wednesday, when I can wish it for you again. So you take care. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.